talk about tax overages versus state funds and the documents that you need. Now, this has been a highly requested video, actually in my group. If you guys don't know about my mentorship group, you got to join, okay? People ask great questions and anything that you need to know when it comes to doing unclaimed funds, that's the place to be. But what you're going to learn right here is the differences on the requirements for tax overages and state funds. Now, I picked the great state of California because I feel like that state right there is a prime example of what a well-run state is when it comes to helping people recover their funds. And you guys know, if you follow my channel, you already know the reason why I favor California is just because it's one of the most investigator-friendly states in the country, hands down. Now, that's not to say I haven't worked with every state, because I haven't. I'm not going to lie, but I will say that I have worked with a good handful of states, and every time I just keep getting drawn back to California just because of how user-friendly it is on this tax overages side and on the state fund side. So without further ado, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring you guys a little closer. We're going to go ahead and start with tax overages, because that is exactly how I got started when it comes to unclaimed funds. So my story is, when I first started, I left a 20-year career so I can focus on something new. I needed to be challenged. I needed to make money. I mean, COVID hit, my brick and mortar business was closed. I got into tax overages and I made plenty of mistakes. I mean, I bought course after course, hired mentor after mentor. But one thing that I think that people really failed to drive home, well, at least for me, was the importance of having the right documents. Okay, so this right here, this is my list of the tax surplus. And so whenever you're working with any county, they're going to have their own excess proceeds forms. So you want to make sure that when you're going there, you find the filing instructions and you get the right forms. And then you need to make sure that you have the right assignments to rights. So what does that actually mean? It just means, like, does this person have the right to claim the form? Like, is this their previous address? Do you have the right claimant? Because a lot of people have similar names. You guys know my name. I'm Joe Green. So how many Joe Greens do you think are out there? What if you skip trace the wrong Joe Green and then now you're trying to claim a fund for them that doesn't belong to them? So you got to make sure that you have this form readily available, at least in the state of California. Now, of course, you're going to have your proof of interest. And now your proof of interest right here, this is just like, like social security cards, personal identifying information, so that they know that this is the person that you're working with. And then you got to get a notarized affidavit in some cases. And why would you need that? Again, just having a notary saying that this person actually agreed to work with you. This person is actually trying to claim this form and you're doing it on their behalf. Okay. Some states, they might have various laws to where you might not necessarily have to get things notarized. But in my experience, most cases, you will be getting notary when it comes to tax overages, okay? And then any supporting documents, anything you can think of. I had a case where I was working, this gentleman, he was a retired gentleman, and in his situation, the home or the unclaimed funds was supposed to go to his father, but his father passed. It was supposed to go to his brother passed, and then he was the next in line. So we had to get all the death certificates. We had to get all the supporting documentation. And of course, I made a nice little binder for him. So if you guys haven't seen what my binder looks like, you guys can be more than welcome to join my academy. I teach all that. I even give like the whole template of how I put my binder together, because when I send documents to my clients, I want them to have an easy way, to go through and sign what they need to sign. The better you prepare your documents for your clients, the more likely they're going to give you a fast turnaround by signing everything they need to sign and then getting it back to you. All right. So these things are really important right here. And now over here for the state funds, let me go ahead and move this over here so you guys can see it. So state funds right here, you want to have your investigator agreement. If you guys don't know what that is, California actually provides this for you. However, this is a big however, I still have my own local agreement. And here's why. Because when I get on the phone with you, say this is the first time we're talking, and then you agree, like, yes, Joe, let's do business. I want you to do my claim for me. The first thing I'm going to do before we get off the phone, I'm going to digitally send an agreement for you. And you guys watch my YouTube channel. You guys know about how I send everything digital right away. Send it to them while you're on the phone and get them to make that micro commitment now. Even though California has their own agreement that must be signed and they can care less about your personal one, I want my client to know that we have an agreement. And my document is pretty much in line with the state one, but it's just letting them know like the percentage that I'm getting, letting them know that I'm not charging them until after the claim is successfully processed and everybody gets paid out. So it's just clear for everybody. But it also makes them feel committed to me so they don't go and try to find somebody else or do it themselves. You know, they just feel like, oh, okay, I'm doing business with somebody. So that's the reason why I say send out your agreement. But the state of California provides one. Not every state does. For example, Nevada does not give an agreement template. They just say figure it out. Same thing with Hawaii. They don't give a template, but that's okay because if you guys are my academy, I give you those templates. You guys have everything you need. All right. So next thing, if you're doing abandoned property, which a lot of you probably won't be, you guys are focusing more on funds than property, but they do have an abandoned property form if you're trying to help someone reclaim like their boat or their whatever, you know. So you got that. Proof of identity, of course, just like tax surplus, you want to have a proof of identity. This is really, really important. You guys make sure to get the right person, okay? W-9. So you're probably wondering, Joe, why do I need a W-9? Well, because you're getting the money. This is technically earned income for them and for you. And so most states are going to require you to have a W-9 form completed so that they know that they have taxes to pay on these funds that you're actually inheriting or getting. All right. So just make sure you have all that together. And then, of course, you want to have a cover letter. This is optional, but this is something that I do. I have a cover letter that summarizes everything that I'm having them sign. It has everything that's in the packet, like birth certificate, social security, whatever I need, whatever is mandatory according to the filing instructions from your investigator handbook. I have all that there together. And then a lot of times, in California, especially, you're going to have a power of attorney. And this is just like mostly for claims over like $1,000, where they require you to have a power of attorney in order to complete this claim on somebody else's behalf. You can't just go willy-nilly just applying, filing claims for people. You just can't do that. All right. So there's a lot of different like regulations for different states, but California has got a really good lock and it's got a good hold on what's supposed to be done. What you guys need, just need to make sure to organize. And after you start working the process, it's just rinse, wash, and repeat. That's why a lot of people who are beginning this business, I always tell people, start with state funds because it's a little bit more simple and it's the same across the board for the entire state. If you start with tax overages, my only hesitation for you, starting with tax overages, is every county is different. So if you're going from one county to the next, as a beginner, it can get a little confusing. You can get a little bit frustrated because what worked in one county might not work in another county. I don't make the rules. They do have similarities for state expectations, but another county might have one form that you didn't know that's like a homegrown form that you got to fill out because you're going to submit everything and you're going to think everything is great. And then you're going to get a kickback and they're going to be like, oh, no, you forgot this one form that nobody cares about. You're going to be really upset. So anyways, so there you guys have it. There's a stark differences between tax overages and state funds. Like whatever you lean to one or the other is totally up to you. What I teach in my academy is I teach people how to find their claimants, how to complete the forms, what forms they need. I coach people every week, week to week. So if you're ever stuck on a case, I help you move faster, okay, with all the information that you need. If you guys want to join the academy, in the link up here, down there, just click the link, join the academy, join me and all the great people who are working funds, helping people reclaim funds that is rightfully theirs, but you get to break away from that 9-to-5 job because it can easily replace your salary. I can teach you all that, guys, in the academy. Hope you guys join. But anyways, to the next video, always subscribe and follow me for more great information on how to run your unclaimed funds business. I'll see you later. Peace.